Hello and welcome to the video content of the course Electronics System Components. Chapter 3 Electronics Components of a Computer. The purpose of this chapter is to present in detail the electronic components that make up a computer. First, we start by basic architecture of computers. The architecture of microprocessor system represents organization of its different units and their interconnections. The choice of an architecture is always the result of compromise between performance and the costs, between efficiency and ease of construction, between overall performance and the ease of programming, etc. Second, we will see the main components of computer. All the internal components of the computer are contained in the case and include, among other things, the motherboard, the processor, the memory, etc. The motherboard is the base that makes the components and the technologies of our computers work. When assembling a computer, the motherboard is first fixed in the case of the central unit, and then all the electronic elements are connected to it. Processor, memory, graphics card, expansion card, but also hard drive, CD, DVD player, keyboard, etc. The quality of the motherboard is vital since the performance of the computer depends heavily on it. The figure uh, that you see is the motherboard. Typical motherboard supports the following components. The chipset is often broken down to chips. The North Bridge takes care of interfacing of microprocessor with the fast peripherals, memory, and the graphics card. The South Bridge takes care of interfacing the microprocessor with slower peripherals like hard disk, CD-ROM, floppy disk drive. The figure that you see is the chipset clock. It's a real-time clock, term sometimes abbreviated by to RTC. It is responsible for giving the date and the time in real time. This clock is powered by an electric battery located on the computer's motherboard, allowing it to continue to function even if the computer is turned off or deprived of electrical. Figure that you see is the system bus. The system bus, also called internal bus or front-side bus, it connects the processor to the chipset. It always the processor to communicate with the random access memory. The memory bus, it connects to chipset to the random access memory, RAM. The extension bus, input-output bus, it connects the processor to the input-output connectors and to the expansion connectors. The expansion bus always be the various components of the motherboard, USB, serial, parallel cards connected to the expansion connectors, hard driver, CD-ROM, and etc. to communicate with each other, but above all, it always the addition of new peripherals thanks to the expansion connectors connected to the input output. The input output panel is an interface that groups together all the input output connectors. Motherboard connectors. The connector motherboard has number of connectors such as processor supports, power supply connectors, memory connectors, storage connectors, expansion connectors, input output connectors. The second component we will see is the processor or microprocessor. Is a very large scale integrated circuits. It is often made of silicon and groups together several million interconnected elementary transistors. Its role is to interpret and execute the program instruction. Major processor manufacturers. Today, two manufacturers share the market for processors for PCS, Intel, contraction and integrated electronics with Celeron, Pentium, Core, and AMD advanced micro devices with model R, Sempron, Alton, Tronium, Phenom. Processor socket or connector is the type of connector into which the processor is inserted and connects it to the rest of computer. That are two categories of supports. Slot, it is rectangular connector into which the processor is placed vertically. Like you see in the figure 11. Sockets is a square connector with a large number of small connectors into which the processor plugs directly. Like you see in figure 12. Since the processor radiated heat, it is necessary to dissipate the heat to prevent its circuits from melting. This is why it is usually topped with a heat skin, sometimes called collar or radiator, composed of metal with good thermal conduction, responsible to increasing the heat exchange surface. Fan usually accompanies the heatsink to improve airflows around the heatsink and improve heat exchange. The term color is thus sometimes used to designate the fan radiator assembly to avoid fan-related noise and improve heat dissipation. You see in the figure the two types of color. Main characteristics of microprocessor. The main characteristic of microprocessor as its frequency. This is the number of operations that the processor can perform in 1 second. Number of cores. The number of cores indicates the number of simulated instructions that the processor can process. The complexity of its architecture. This complexity is measured by the number of transistors contained in the microprocessor. Thank you for your attention.